Hello, welcome back to the Manifesting Millions podcast. I am Amy Van Meel, your host for today's episode and every episode because I love it so much. I trust that you're having a fantastic day or week or weekend, whatever timeline you are on. I just hope that you're having a great time. I'm just fresh off of a walk outside. It's going to be 30 degrees today, which kind of has me wanting to crawl into a closet. But currently I think it's like maybe 20 and it's beautiful and sunny and I love it. So today we're going to continue. I think this might be the 4th episode in our series of 10, all related to the questions that are posed in the book, The Right Questions. Today's question that we're going to lean into is, am I standing in my power or am I trying to please another? First of all, I just love this question in general. And I think if you're familiar with Enneagram, if you're an Enneagram 2, my hand is firmly raised. Enneagram 2s are, I'll call us the people pleasers. Like, we're very focused. We have a lot of drive and desire to have be of service and have people around us be happy. If you're an Enneagram expert, please don't send me hate mail for getting this wrong. But that's my understanding of our Ennea 2s. I would also say, like, if you're someone who just in general, because maybe you don't know your Enneagram type, if you're someone in general who really loves to help others and have been finding that you get a tremendous amount of joy or fulfillment, or maybe on the slightly darker side, it just fills this void that you're having to help others. This is a great question for you to reflect on kind of regularly, actually. So when I think about, standing in my power, trying to please another, there's a million different ways that we can take this. Where I think I want to explore with you today is going after our next level goals, because that's what is present of mind for me. I listened to a great podcast episode from the Royal Shaman on my walk, and it touched ever so slightly on this idea of standing in our power versus basically asking, like, are we playing small? Are we not going after our goals or fulfilling our potential because we want to be liked? We want people to be happy with us. I've been really reflecting on this question of who am I in this next level? And who are the people that will be with me in the next level? And am I seeing some friction points now of relationships and situations in my life that are no longer representative of or necessarily going to fit as well into this next stage that I'm stepping into? It's a big kind of scary moment to think about. I have taken lots of training over the years. One of the trainings that I did was a fairly intensive 2-year thing around business. It was not like an MBA, but might as well have been for how much work we did. But there was a lot of focus on sacrifice plans. And every single topic that we covered, we had these learning modules, every single one would finish with, okay, what's your sacrifice plan? What are you going to sacrifice for this however length of time? And it might be only a week, but usually they were like months long or some, random goal that like doesn't have a specific timeline that you're going to sacrifice as you go after this. And I never questioned it too much at the time. I definitely had a bit of a question mark of like, but is this really the way that we want to go? That we have to have this belief we have to give up something in order to create this other thing in our life? And then kind of just let it go. So now when I think about this idea of sacrificing something in my life as I'm moving to the next level, there's a lot of historical feedback that comes up that's kind of like, whoa, but like, remember when we did that and that wasn't cool and it didn't feel good, and oh, by the way, we also didn't manifest the goals that we were going after in the same way, so like, is it even worth it? Maybe we just stay where we are, because at least then you don't have to think about giving this thing up or this person up or whatever. That said, I know for myself, I feel the friction, this discomfort of trying to almost convince myself to stay in a box that I actually know is no longer fitting me, right? It's like you just are flat out ignoring that, like, hey, those jeans don't fit anymore. And they shouldn't fit anymore because, by the way, those jeans were from when you were 14. And now you're a full-grown adult. And, of course, you're going to be, a little bit taller or bigger or whatever than you were when you were 14. You are an entirely different person. All of your cells have completely regenerated. You don't believe the same things necessarily. You have, jobs or businesses or whatever. Like, you're not the same person, but you keep trying to fit into this previous space. And that's the friction that I'm feeling right now. So I'm really curious what that presents like for you when you consider that question of, am I standing in my power? Am I actually, embodying the person that I know I truly actually am, even though I'm afraid to become that person? The example that just popped in mind, imagine that you are at the Olympics. You're competing for whatever your sport is. And you won. You've won gold, right? Amazing. You win gold, but you're not sure yet about going onto the podium to accept the gold medal, because if you do accept that, it means you have to let go of, something else. You can't say anymore, oh, I'm pursuing this gold medal. You already have it. Now, logically, you're probably like, Amy, that's fucked up. That doesn't make any sense. Of course I would get on the podium and go after that gold medal. I won it. I already did the thing that won me the medal. Why would I not? But what I do think is, at least for myself, and I can only speak from my own experience, that I'm feeling that friction of, I know it's time to stand up and stand forward in a bigger way, to show up for the world in a bigger way. And yet, if I do so, it's going to mean that I have to let go of the space that I was in. And I think I've talked about this in episodes previous, but it's easier to actually move from bad to good than it is to go from good to great, and then to go from great to extraordinary. When you're moving from bad to good, the impetus is real, right? Like, you're like, of course I want to get out of this shitty ass situation. I'm tired of being here. It hurts. It's uncomfortable. It's whatever, in a very real and tangible way. So that's easy to then go, yep, I'm done with this. I want to move forward into this next level. That was the space that I was in when I realized a number of years ago, and I share this story in a number of places, but I found myself jealous of somebody who had died in a plane crash. And that was a real moment of awakening for me of, oh my God, I am so not enjoying my life currently that I'm jealous of somebody who's dead. That's a problem. And that becomes it wasn't an easy change to make, but it was an easy catalyst to get on board with of, holy fuck, I'm jealous of a dead guy. That's not okay. Yep, life is not what I want it to be. So I am 1,000% on board to going from bad to good. Then I have been building good for a number of years. And my relationship with Dave got better. My health got better. My physical fitness got better. Our home got better. My car upgraded. My job was getting upgraded. Like so much was upgrading that I went from good to great. And that took a little bit of time. And that was a relatively okay process for me, but meant letting go of some things. And the bigger issue that I had with the letting go was not, okay, I know it's time to let go, but more of, but who am I without this, right? When I finally decided to let go fully of the design business, I held on to that way longer than I should have. And I had all kinds of logical reasons why, but truly I just wasn't ready to let go of that, because the question was, okay, but it's not great, but it's okay. It's in the low level good category, and it could become this, whatever fantasy that I had in place. And finally I had to realize it's not going to become that, because I actually don't desire it to become that. And I'm actually very done with this, and I'm ready to let go. And that took some time. And in that time frame, I got a full-time job and started to see the power of consistent paychecks and having a more consistent day and having colleagues that were around me to partner in with me, to talk with, to just, shoot the shit with. Like, those things made a difference. And it took a little bit of time, but eventually I managed to move from what was good to what I would very easily qualify now as a great life. If I look at my day-to-day currently, I have an amazing relationship with a man that I admire and respect and still think is sexy as hell, and cannot wait to spend time with him. A long-standing dream of mine was to become engaged and to get married, and I am literally less than 2 months away from getting married. I had received the most amazing proposal from him, which was also a dream of mine. I mentioned a number of times, I've released weight, so my body is feeling fit and vital is not quite the word I'm looking for, but I feel like this relatively well-oiled machine that still likes chips from time to time, right? And definitely wolfed down a burger last night and then went, oh my God, that was way more than I needed to eat, and felt very uncomfortable trying to fall asleep. But my physical body feels good. I feel good in my body. I have clothing that feels good that I enjoy wearing. I don't have this constant struggle or stress or strain maybe to go buy things. That was something that existed when I was definitely in the bad space and in the early stages of the good space, this constant feeling and drive that if I just bought the right thing, things would be better. If I just have this, I'll buy this journal, it's going to be amazing. I'm going to buy this candlestick, it's going to be amazing. Whatever. That has gone away, which is amazing. Now I can purchase things and invest in courses and things that feel aligned or that I actually care about having, right? And not have all this clutter in my house, which was huge. I know I've talked about that before. I have amazing friendships. Are they perfect? No, they are human relationships. They're never going to be perfect. I definitely still have days where I feel very lonely, days where maybe I feel unseen or unheard. But overall, I have these really great relationships with really strong, powerful people. I have the most amazing women in my life. I marvel at the strength and wisdom and just power in the women that exist in my life. It's just, I could go on and on. I mean, I am, it's all these elements of life are so good. And where I'm seeing that friction now is in that next step of, okay, I've been hearing the call for a while. I know that the next step is to move into, creating this next step in my entrepreneurial journey, building this business, really finding and leaning into crafting, digital products or online services that are really going to help people. which was the desire that I had behind creating the Manifesting a Million Moments of Joy Masterclass. I see this pain in the world, and I see and hear people talk about, the sense of hopelessness and struggle and just feeling super down and then numbing out by watching TV or just like counting the days until vacation, but really just kind of existing versus living. And that was what really drove me to go, okay, I know how to create joy, and I know how I can hang on to that joy even when life sort of hits the skids a little, or I'm feeling super down. I have that deep well. How about I share with others how they can build that well for themselves also, right? So that's what that started out of. But I've been feeling this pull. It's like, Amy, it's bigger. It's bigger than that. That's maybe the first step. Yes, that's good. Yes, it's valuable, but it's bigger. And I've been really kind of resisting very much the next stage, which is really to lean into money and talking about money and sharing about money. And that feels very scary. Because if I take this question of standing in my power or pleasing another, I almost can't do both. If I'm teaching about joy, I can kind of do both, right? I can stand in my power of the knowledge and wisdom that I have and have gained. I can share that, and I can please others because their lives are improving, right? They're going to go through this masterclass, and they're going to learn a lot. And they're going to be able to shift their lives for the better and shift their lives into a more positive space and build that strong foundation and deep well of joy, the same that I tap into literally every day. But the topic of money is very polar. There is huge emotions and societal beliefs and long-held habits like so embedded into money. So it's not only an enormous topic, but it's an enormously charged topic. And to top all of that off, there's a very solid dose of who the hell am I to talk about money? Right? I'm just like, oh my God. But I can't keep ignoring this call. And so I feel this friction for sure of, am I going to stand in my power and use my voice and be okay with, the hater's going to hate kind of scenario in an effort to let go of pleasing people, but really do good in the world? That's where I'm at right now. So we sort of went on a tangent. I would be very curious to hear where does that feel in alignment for you? Are there spaces in your life, and it could be something super tiny, it could be something super big. Are there spaces in your life where you are feeling this friction point between this call to stand in your power or this kind of like ego-driven, deeply prehistoric human-driven need to please others? And I don't want to dismiss that at all. We are first and foremost programmed to fit in. It is what allowed us to survive. Not just like, okay, I can survive, sort of, I don't know who the band is. It like has I will survive. It's not just that sort of flippant, I'll survive, I'll get through it. No, this was literal physical survival. If you did not fit in, if you were ostracized out of the group, you would die. It's sort of open and shut, right? So we don't want to discount the fact that that exists. However, at the same time, I think that we can too easily get just caught up on that automatic system that's running in the background without questioning it. So I'd love to hear what you're learning as you're questioning, and maybe playing with this question in your mind a little bit. So hit me up on Instagram. You can find me at Amy Van Meel. I always link it into the show notes. So if you don't know how to spell my name, it's AMYVANMEIJL. Very Dutch. for all of you who are familiar with Dutch names, but I'll link it in the show notes, of course. And if the idea of creating a deep and fulfilling foundation of joy in your life, of really building happiness into your day, of being able to create this foundation that makes you so unbelievably resilient in the face of all kinds of things that are coming up, I would encourage you to head on over to amyvanmeel.com/joy. Again, the link will be in the show notes, and sign up for the Manifesting a Million Moments of Joy Masterclass. It's fantastic. When you sign up, you will get lifetime access to the course. It is only $111. I'm very big on angel numbers, and 111s are all about manifesting that next level and really creating this amazing life. So please, if that is an alignment for you, I would encourage you to go check it out, sign up. You'll get instant access to the materials in the course, and I'd love to hear how it's going. With that, I wish you a fantastic rest of the day, and I will see you on our next episode. Bye.